it is, I hope that I look like my wife. If it's true in the physical realm. I don't know if it's true or not, but I can tell you for certainty that it's unquestionably true in the spiritual realm that the more you spend time with someone, the more you look like them. All right? In Acts chapter 4, verse 13, because of the boldness of Peter and John, their attitude, their speech, their behavior, the rulers and the elders, they said they've been with Jesus. They began to look like him, talk like him, walk like him. And shouldn't be the world accusing us of the same, hey, you've been with Jesus. There's something different about you. You've been spending time with him because we're a follower and we've looked to him as our example. Like, have you ever, parents, adults, like been around any like teenagers? And like, before you know it, like you're talking like them? I know, right? Just saying. And so you've hung around them and you've taken into yourself those characteristics. I have a friend that says a lot. I'll be around him, and it seems like that's the only word I can say is The other day, we take into those characters because we've been spending time with them. Now listen to me. Evil communications corrupt good morals. That's in the Bible. I think it's in there for a reason. We're talking about being a follower of Christ. Paul said, be ye followers of me, even as I am also of Christ. And so when the world sees us, do they see someone that's imitating Christ? Do they see someone that's following him and taking into light the characteristics of him? Do they see an example? Do they see us and say, here's a person that's following the pattern. Here's a person that's transformed. Is that what they say? I used to know him or her, but they're just different. In all thy ways, graduates, acknowledge him. In all of thy ways. Now, if I were to put a gun to your head and I said, Mario, give me all of your money. And Mario looked to the girl beside him and said, now all. What does that mean? We'd say, I want to keep his diploma. If he doesn't know what all means, in all thy ways, we'd be concerned about you, Mario. In all of thy ways, acknowledge him. Now, Granddad used to tell me growing up, he'd say, no, Stephen, he's all right in every way, he just don't have enough ways. I don't really know what exactly he meant by that, but we have ways, don't we? We have ways, in all thy ways, in all of them. Acknowledge him. Now, if we're going to be like Jesus and honor him as Lord, we have to challenge people to make real decisions. Isn't that what the lesson is about tonight? And that begins with us. Let's go through a couple of conversations that Jesus had with people. Is that okay? And where he challenged them to make a real decision. Listen to what he said. No man can serve two masters. All right? I used to think that meant that a man can't have two wives because he'd have two mother-in-laws. It don't mean that. It doesn't mean that. Put your guns up, ladies. It doesn't mean that. No man can serve two masters. You can't be the master of your life and then have Jesus as a master too. He's challenging people to make a real decision. In Luke 14:28, no man intending to build a tower, but yet he sits down and he counts the cost to see if he has wherewith to build it. And so you might be driving down the road and there's the foundation of a house. On 54, going from Brim's Corner to Brownsville, on the left, there's a garage that's built. Someone lives in the garage. And then there's a foundation. That's all that it is. The grass and stuff, trees are growing up where they were going to build their house. I don't know what happened. It may be years. I don't know what happened. I don't know if they ran out of money. I'm not sure what happened in life. But Jesus said, if you're going to follow me, first you need to count the cost. And then in another place in Matthew chapter 8, a man thought he wanted to follow Jesus. And he said, Master, I'll follow you wherever you go. Well, that's great, isn't it? I mean, if we were out here and we were trying to raise money for something and we said, hey, Jameson, would you like to join our campaign? BB, would you join our campaign and help us? And Jameson, BB, they said, yeah, we'll join you. Isn't that what this man tells Jesus? I'll follow you wherever you go. And Jesus says, I need to tell you something. The foxes have holes. The birds of the air have nests. But the Son of Man has not where to lay his head. But why did he tell him that? I mean, Jesus, don't you want people to follow you? This man said he would follow you, and you told him that you didn't even have a place to lay your head. What's up with that? He was challenging them to make a real decision. Jesus saying, what you're thinking about doing is not going to be a bed of roses. And then the very next verse, the disciple said, in Matthew 8:21, Lord, suffer me first to go and bury my father. Jesus said, follow me, let the dead bury their dead. Now, Jameson and BB are trying to get you to join our campaign. He said, listen, some of my family's passed away. And visitations tonight from 5 to 8. I'm not going to be able to help you raise that money. I'm not going to be able to help you. I'm not going to be able to join your campaign tonight. What might we say? Listen, I'm sorry. And we're going to go to the house and make sure you have some food for your family. And we're going to mow your yard. You don't have to worry about that. And maybe help you clean your house up, vacuum the carpet. You know, we understand. Was that what Jesus told this man? He said, I need you to follow me. It's a real decision. In John chapter 4, we have the Samaritan woman. You familiar with that? Where they're at the well. An outcast, right? She's been married 5 times. And the man she was living with was not her husband. And Jesus and her, they had an encounter. Now, the Jews and Samaritans, they liked each other, didn't they? Well, they really had a great relationship. Didn't they really get along well? No, not really. I mean, you know, this woman's an adulterer. She's a fornicator, and Jesus is talking to her. And Jesus didn't pull out the best sermon that's ever been written on the history of the world about adultery, the best sermon that's ever been written in the history of the world about fornication. He didn't whip out that sermon. That's not what she needed. She needed to make a real decision about following him. He didn't talk about the prejudice that existed between the Jews and the Samaritans. She already knew she was an adulterer. She knew that her issue. She knew she was a Samaritan. She knew about the prejudice. She already knew about that. What she needed to hear was that she could become something great. Even with a past like that. That she could get a second chance. A do-over. Now, you need second chances? I do. I need about 20 or 30 a day. You know? And Jesus is offering that lady to her. He's telling her, you can become something great. And he gave her a foundation upon which she could build in order to make a real decision. What did he talk to her about? What did he talk to her about? He talked to her about what mattered the most, living water. That's what he offered the woman. What she needed to hear was that she wasn't the rankest sinner in the entire world. But that if she would follow him, he would make her something great in the kingdom. We're in Matthew chapter 19. Here's a man that recognized authority. He's rich. He's young. He's a ruler. He's got it going on. And he talks to Jesus. He says, oh, I'm good. I'm a good man. I'm a good man. I love the Lord with all my heart, with all my soul. And I just really have it going on, you know. I went on a trip with some students one time, high school students, and I had to be a chaperone, so I was kind of sizing up the people, you know. Am I going to have to stay up all night to make sure they don't sneak out? Am I going to get some sleep? And so I asked the question, I said, what kind of guy are you? And he said, well, to be honest, he said, I look real good on paper. So I set the traps, caught him sneaking out 2 o'clock in the morning, on and on. But this is a man that looks good on paper, doesn't he? Rich young ruler, he's got it going on, and Jesus said, hey, there's something you got to make a decision about. Isn't that what he told him? What about your riches? Consider the prodigal son in Luke 15. He found himself in a pig pen, and because of the influence of his father, did you hear that, graduates? Did you hear that, parents? Sometimes your children may not exactly make the best decisions that you'd like for them to make. But in the parable of the prodigal son, we see a man who never forgot the influence of his father. And he's there in that pig pen. He's got to make a decision, doesn't he? Am I going to get up and go home? That's the decision that he has to make. In 2009, I proposed to Whitney on a Friday. She chased me all over Jackson. I finally, you know, after her begging and stuff, I finally asked her to marry me. And this isn't church, is it? This is school. So we finally, I asked her to marry me on a Friday. Monday, I left for India. Now, wasn't that mean? For 3 weeks. Other side of the world, you know, 24-hour flight over there. And so while I'm over there, we're coming from Kakinada to Vishakhapatnam. You don't know where that's at, but for you geography people, world geography people, it's on the Bay of Bengal over there, the east coast of India. And I look over there in a landfill, and there's about a dozen pigs. There's about 8 people out there eating with those pigs out of that landfill. I thought about Luke 15. He's got to make a decision, doesn't he? Am I going to get up and go home? Sermon on the Mount, Jesus